You guys, we're back. All 52 podcasts. Sean, Brian, Javon. My Yankees lost last night, but I'm still repping the team. We're just having an off-air conversation. What up, fellas?
You know,
Good morning. Good morning.
this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Ain't it right? Ain't that right, Reverend Steve? Ain't that how it go? Yes, sir.
There
The
you go.
Yankees
You
have
got it.
lost. The Yankees have lost. Glory, glory, hallelujah. The Yankees have lost. Come on, somebody. I'm a happy man this morning. Yes. Yeah.
They lost. They lost. No controversy. That was a good butt whooping. Even though they won game 3, the series wasn't close. Toronto dominated them. It's just kind of what it is. And the starting pitching exploded. Crazy.
It should have been a sweep, but for some reason in game 3, you decide to pitch to Aaron Judge with a chance to tie the game. That made no sense whatsoever.
You text that. That was a good point. Just some bad. That was probably Schneider's only bad move in the postseason so far.
Yeah,
for that team. But that team can hit. They're the blueprint. Contact hitting. They're the blueprint. Can't strike them out. We had Cam out last night, and he only had one strikeout. Those guys can hit. I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah,
12 hits or something to that effect. Yeah, I mean they put on a clinic.
Yeah, it was a clinic. So shout out to them. I'm still gonna watch the baseball players. I'm not one of those people who, when my team's out, I'm not gonna watch anymore. So I'm excited for Game 5 with the Tigers and Mariners, and then watching the ALDS and then the NL. So we'll see what happens.
yeah. All right, Sean, this was quite the interesting weekend. As you know, I am not in Syracuse right now. I am home for the week on vacation, so excuse the lighting, but I'm ready to have a good podcast. Y'all ready?
Let's go. It's a great weekend.
Oh
Let's do it.
man. My dreams came true. Did my dreams come true? Down go Texas and down go Penn State. And out of the top 25, they went. Penn State, the first team in about 40 years to be ranked and lose to an 0-4 team. In Texas, losing in the swamp. It's so bad you got Steve Sarkisian saying, put the other 135 teams at the shoe and in the swamp and see what they do. That's when you know your season is cooked. Fellas, I tried to tell y'all, man. Drew Adler, Arch Manning, they ain't them guys. At some point, somebody's going to have to just start trusting me. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta start first. I gotta keep it a buck. Arch has been the biggest disappointment I've seen in college football in a while. That Texas team was number 2 coming into season, number 1, whatever they were.
And y'all got on my case for not having them that high in the preseason poll. I ain't going to forget.
I was drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah,
me too. Same. But I even last year I did say I like Arch because I thought he had something to him. But at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding. He's not producing. He's not producing in big moments. Even in the games they won, he's been all right. Definitely 100% sure that kid is not coming out in this NFL draft. This is a smart family. He needs to stay. I forgot he was a redshirt sophomore, so he has 2 more years additionally after this. He might need those 2 additional years after this because he looks like he a deer with headlights. He does not look like he's ready for the SEC. He does not look like he's ready for high-level college football. Steve Sarkisian, he's got a coach in those 2 games against Florida. He's got a coach against Ohio State. I'm not saying he should be on the hot seat because he's developed or got Texas back to the level it should be. But at some point, we got to see you take a step. And I just don't feel like his teams are like physically tough enough in these tough games, SEC games, that they've been losing in the college football playoffs. So very disappointed in Texas. I had them going to the CFP. They're in the SEC and their schedule still favors if they can win out. They might still make it, but those chances are slim. I'm not betting on them. In Penn State, when's James Franklin going to lose his job? And again, I don't advocate for people losing their jobs, but he's made a lot of money. He'll be all right, and he'll get a job somewhere else. But he He hasn't got over the hump. The team was unprepared from a UCLA team that was 0 for 4, couldn't stop anyone, came out lackluster. And then Penn State, that was an opportunity. All right, let's right this ship after a tough Oregon loss, and we still control our future. We beat Ohio State and Indiana. They will have to win out, and they're not beating Ohio State. I'll put money on
beating
that.
Ohio State, which they never do. Beating
They're not
Ohio
beating Ohio
State
State
in Columbus. Yeah.
They're not beating Ohio State. If they do, and they beat Indiana, they're in the CFP. But they're not beating both of those teams. I do not see them beat both of those teams. But at this point, that's the only thing. That's all I'm saying. When is James Franklin going to lose his job? That's it.
I don't think they beat either one. Mendoza is the better quarterback of the two, and Ohio State has the best defense in the country. They're not beating either team.
No, I don't. I'm not betting on them beating those teams at all.
They're going to go 8-4 at best. If Franklin doesn't lose his job, then I don't know. I mean, I think Penn State fans and Ravens fans are having the seasons we've both wished for the longest, which is play bad enough for the brass to realize how bad these head coaches are.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And I got to say this. Penn State, and they put money behind getting the defensive coordinator from Ohio State. They put money in bringing the roster back. They have a lot of talent on that roster. I had them in the CFP this year. I'm not going to, I had them in the CFP. Too much talent. But I'm just getting nervous about this. And, I have to give Javon credit for this when he said about these so-called experts and these quarterbacks. I'm not sure if I besides Nussmeier and LSU, and sometimes even him, he could be iffy. If I like any of these quarterbacks so far in this hype 2026 NFL draft, Drew Allard, Arch Manning, K. Klubnik, none of those guys have lived up. Sellis has been, and then sometimes injured. I don't like any of these guys. I gotta be honest. I don't know. Besides Nussmeier, if I was the Saints, I would take him with the number one pick. But other than that, I don't like any of these quarterbacks.
I think if you are a team that needs, I think if you're a team that needs a quarterback and you've got a good coaching staff, Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore are worth looking at. Those two and Ty Simpson are probably the Heisman front runners this year, and Ruben Bain, of course, down in Miami. I think you are looking at those two guys at least. And the good thing is they play this weekend. The winner of that game might get a top 3 vote from me. And I think the loser falls out of the Heisman race, and it comes between Ty Simpson and the winner of that game. And then Ruben Bain down in Miami, who I'm speaking into existence, needs to be a Raven. I want the Ravens to continue to stink, to get a top 3 pick, and get their next hurricane. That's what Baltimore's missing. Went ahead and got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I texted y'all as soon as he was available, or was it my pops? I texted one of y'all. As soon as he was available, saying that the Ravens need to get him. 3 weeks later, they went and got him. Harbaugh needs to let that dude just be himself, because that's exactly what that locker room needs. That's the problem with Baltimore. We got too many Marlon Humphreys and not enough Chauncey Gardner-Johnsons. But anyways, your thoughts on Penn State?
We need some dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you guys. Franklin, I think he has lost his luster. The time is now to move on. Simply put, being beat by better teams is one thing, but being ill prepared is a whole different thing. And it just seems to me that Penn State's going into these games ill prepared. They're getting punched in the mouth and not able to bounce back. Texas, you guys have nailed it. Our Manning is just under delivering. He is underperforming rather. And I think the hype has gotten to him. I really think high expectations, the namesake, the prestige of the program, and he's just not ready for it.
I just feel like at some point, who you play, we have to get back to that being the most important thing. That is all college sports are about. When it comes to recruiting, it's who did you play in high school? And when it comes to you being a ranked team and how high you get ranked, it's about who did you play. Folks, Arch Manning played no one in high school. No one. And he made his start last year. He played no one. He played the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. What are we talking about? You're at Texas, and we're hyping you up for a game against a Conference USA team? Huh? It's got the nonsense in the world. It's getting to be too much. It's getting to be too much. Let's all come back down to earth. Let's screw our thinking caps back on and get back to being logical and reasonable. I didn't have Texas that high in my preseason poll. Now they're out. I told y'all, frauds. Penn State, all the talent in the world, all the money in the world. And for what? Paid all that money on that whole transfer portal class of receivers. Hey, Trevor Pena, let me talk to you real quick. Because you were right about Ricky Collins. I'll give you that, my guy. But boy, Drew Allen being your step up. Oh, man, you made quite the choice there. Yeah, I mean, Miami was calling. I know. And listen, if you want to know how I know, you can hit my line. You know everybody back in Syracuse. Miami was calling. You could have been down there on the way for a national championship. And you chose Penn State. You deserve this, my brother. You deserve this. You're not going to have your Marcellus Barnes moment. Sean, have you seen that yet?
Nah, what?
So Marcellus Barnes was a 4-star corner in the class of 24. Went on national TV and chose your boyfriend in Syracuse over Georgia and Ole Miss. Played like 4 games last year, didn't do much. Transferred, went home to SMU. Fran was like, so Fran had a press conference. He's like, I'll let y'all know if a player that leaves really winds up hurting my feelings. Because, it's like we were better without Marcellus on the field. And there's a certain way of going about transferring. And, the only way to kill a snake is to cut off the head. So you're going to transfer, do it the right way instead of just going around for weeks talking about, I'm getting out of here, boom, boom, boom. Because at that point, I'm going to make you stand on your word. So Marcellus caught a pic on Saturday. Posted 3 pictures on his Instagram, and one of them was Fran in that press conference when he made the snake comment. And Marcellus's caption was snake season. Ooh, that's my type of petty. That's how you get back, man. Hey, that's Marcellus Barnes, you are the all 52 player of the week for that right there. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good one.
He had his moment. Trevor Pena ain't having his in Happy Valley. And I'm happy about it because y'all know there's no team in college football I hate more than Penn State. Because my Temple Owls have the same record as Penn State. I'm a happy man this week. Oh, we haven't won more than 3 games since 2019. Fran Brown's last season as an assistant at Temple. We're up to 3 wins through 5 games. We'll beat UTSA. I don't want to hear all this get Jeff Traylor or Big 12 job stuff. No more. KC Killer, I love you, my brother. Got a chance to meet you down in Charlotte. My program's on the right way. We on the way back. Yes. I'm happy.
Now you called it. You called it with these 2 teams. I gotta tip my cap. You called it with Arch. That I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Has there been any more anything in college football that has been more disappointing than Arch Manning? Because the hype that came with it this year.
I was going to say that was you guys' hype. So I think that's a question for y'all to answer.
That was not just my hype. That was the national media.
Oh yeah, hype. I know.
Okay. It's not like I was just hyping Arch.
Yeah, no. It ain't exclusive to you, no.
Okay, yeah. But the funny thing, social media is undefeated because I saw something online. They were like, "Hey, you guys know that's Cooper's son. That ain't Peyton or Eli's son, right?" They already want to disassociate him from Peyton and Eli. But now he's been having a tough year. I just see something really interesting online yesterday that they're saying that they pay him a lot of money and he's not producing. And I forgot the guy's name, but he was saying that he thinks Arch might not be back in Texas next year. And I'm like, man, this is really like pro sports in the sense of free agency, because you could cut ties with someone and be like, hey, move on. But I think Arch in Texas, it'll look really bad if he left the SEC in Texas. I see him being there for the next 2 years.
Yeah, Sean, them coaches, they calling them kids into them offices. Hey, man, I'm be honest with you. It's in your best interest to transfer out of here. It's real.
Yeah, with the money especially if you're paying Arch whatever he's getting, $6-7 million just to be the quarterback. That ain't $6-7 million production.
Yeah. Last thing for me. Last thing from me on teams in this stratosphere. Oregon fans, Texas Tech fans, Notre Dame fans, all three of you, shut up. Shut up. It's week 6. I promise. The season will sort itself out. Notre Dame, go look at my ballot. I don't have a single 2-loss team in there. Who are your wins against? Your best wins against Boise State. Leave me alone. Texas Tech. I believed in you when no one in the country did. Y'all remember when we were doing that segment for the first 2 weeks? I had the Red Raiders higher than just about any voter in the country. Now that I got you at 10, see, I don't like when people forget where they came from. You know what I'm saying? You were down here for so long. You was broke eating chicken boxes just like us. And now you got a little bit of cheese, you got a little clout, little notoriety, and you eating Ruth's Chris and you acting crazy. Relax. Don't forget where you came from, folks in Lubbock. Come on, you're number 10. And you're asking me to put you up over Oregon. That's what was making me mad this weekend. What are we doing here?
No.
Relax. Tell me, who did Oregon beat? Yo, stop it. Stop it. We're going to find out the truth about Oregon this weekend when they play Indiana anyway. Just calm down. They hype about a win against they're hyped about a win against Utah, fellas. When I say a ranked win, I don't mean where they ranked at the time. Are they ranked now? The Utes are not ranked now. And I was never high on the Utes in the first place. So Texas Tech, relax. Number 10 in the poll in week 6 is a perfectly fine place to be, especially as the current projected Big 12 champion. Just calm down. Simple and plain. Let's head down south. Sean, we give Kalen DeBoer a lot of crap on this podcast last year.
No.
I think he's bouncing back.
He's bounced back. Like, that's the way you bounce back from a hard, like, that was a shocking loss at the beginning of the year against Florida State. Florida State's definitely better than they were last year and better than we expected. But now I gotta give them credit too. Again, maybe this is like my redemption podcast. Like, I have to just sit there and just be humble and be like, hey, I was wrong. Bama looks good. Bama looks like a true contender in the SEC. What he's done there, you're playing what the thing that I felt like they were missing. That style of football could not play in the SEC. But what they have transitioned over the last couple of weeks, at least, is they become more of a physical football team. So you can have all that finesse you want, but football is a physical, violent sport. And in certain conferences, that's the way you have to play. This ain't the Big 12. So that was my concern. And so there's not the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever it was too. I just was a coaching style for that conference. But the last couple of weeks is flip the switch. And Ty Simpson, he looks like a Heisman Trophy candidate. I kind of disagree with you when you said about like the NFL thing earlier, but whatever. We'll have that conversation another day. But he looks like a really solid college football quarterback, and it's working. So what am I gonna say? It's working. You just gotta shut your mouth and just be like, yo, they're doing well. I don't know if they're the best team in the SEC, but they're definitely looking like they're gonna be in the CFP.
Well, I agree. They turned the ship around. Simpson had a phenomenal game last week. 2 touchdowns, 340 yards. Running game is solid. Miller really got it going as well. So yeah, I think they're treading water just enough to stay relevant in the SEC. Are they, surefire a lock to win? I couldn't say that, but I think they're treading water, and there's some teams that are just good enough to be in the conversation, and you give them an opportunity, win the right games, win the big games, and then boom, lo and behold, they're in playoff talks. And I think that's what Alabama looks like right now.
I think the thing with Alabama, Sean, you touched on it. I think it was they needed Jam Miller back, right? They didn't have him for Florida State, if I remember correctly, and it showed. I think I got on this podcast saying, like, they looked like their whole run game was just predicated on Jam Miller this season, and nothing schemed up in particular for if he went down. He's back, so now that team's going to look like it's supposed to look. Sean, like you said, that means being more physical on the offensive side of the ball, and we know if your offense is beating people up, your defense is most likely going to come out there and beat them up too. I think this weekend against Missouri is very intriguing because I think the Tide win. This game being in Columbia just makes it interesting, though, because it wouldn't come to a shock. It wouldn't come as a shock to me after last season if they, went ahead, got that redemption against Vandy, and then went into Columbia and lost, right, in heartbreaking fashion. So they're not fully back yet. I think this weekend is their final test for me to believe in them 100%. Bama wins this game, I will give them title of best team in the SEC. I'm not a Brian Kelly believer right now. Sean, I think Lane Kiffin had a chance to finally convert us last season, and he just blew his opportunity. That was the other fan base. Ole Miss fans. Yeah, come on. Y'all know I ain't about to put a whole bunch of stock into y'all beating LSU. Relax. Woohoo. You won the Magnolia Bowl finally. Go ahead somewhere with it. So I think this is the final test for Bama because who else down there can beat them, right?
Yeah.
And I had to do some thinking myself this weekend because I had to do the live blog for the AP, and Oklahoma came back. And I'm saying to myself when I'm looking at their schedule, like, you know what? I'm going to have to think about them a little bit for the next few weeks because they probably should have lost to Auburn, and the schedule isn't super impressive. After that, the Red River game doesn't really mean too much. So they've got some games coming up where we're going to learn the truth about them. Like by November 1st, we'll know who the Sooners are. So, like, until we get the real rundown on OU, Bama wins Saturday. That's my number one team because I don't trust Ole Miss. Kirby just can't beat them. He can't beat them. Like, that's just the team that's got his number. So right now, the Tide are in a great position for. I think the SEC champs going to get a top 4 seed. Period. They're in position for that
for sure.
Would you rank them in the hierarchy? Do we? I think we all could agree Ohio State's the best team in the country, right?
No, Miami.
Yes.
You think Miami is the best team in the country?
Miami has gotten my vote for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Really? Okay. I'm surprised. Carson Beck has played good football this year, so I can't really say anything like that. It's the reason he's played better football this year. So Miami, Ohio State, and the Alabama part right now. But I wouldn't sleep on Georgia.
They're the creme for sure.
Yeah, they're the best. But I wouldn't sleep on Georgia in this aspect. Typically, Kirby Smart's teams get better as the season goes on. I'm not a big fan of Gunnar as a quarterback, though. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think he is a quarterback where you coach not to lose with him.
Yeah.
Right? Now, granted, he's got. I'm not going to put that 100% restriction on him though, because if that were the case, you probably don't beat that Tennessee team. So he's kind of like, I think he's just not as good as he can be yet. I'll say that. I think, as you said, this going to be one of those things where he just gets better week by week by week, and then we'll see the full package of who Gunnar Stockton is by the time they get to Atlanta in December.
He will have to play. My concern with that is at some point, maybe like you said, against Tennessee, they got into a shootout that he won. Can he do it again? I don't know. I don't know if he's that type of quarterback. He's the primary, the prototype quarterback that you see that probably will never play in the pros, or he does. He's like a third string quarterback.
Journeyman.
Yeah, like type of guy. He doesn't really have the talent, but maybe he has the heart. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's the only thing. But I do like the Georgia team. I just don't know about the quarterback situation on that. But he is the quarterback, so it is what it is.
So then, the best way I consider Georgia a strong team who is well coached. Coaching will get them over the hump of the lack of, a quarterback dominant situation, right? And they've got one of the best coaches in the league, by far. Caleb can coach. So, his ability to coach those guys up will go a lot further than we realize.
Yeah. I agree.
What we got next, Sean?
All right, so there's no more unbeatens in the NFL. the Buffalo Bills lost to the New England Patriots on Monday night, and then the Denver Broncos went into Philadelphia and beat the undefeated at the time Eagles. What's you guys' thoughts on no more unbeatens?
This season has been exciting for me from the sense of parity. Week to week, it's so cliche, any given Sunday, except for the team the Saints are playing, any given Sunday, you have a chance to lose because even the Panthers got it right twice this
The
season.
Saints just
So,
beat the
I mean,
Giants, though. Why we gotta
that's-
do the Saints like that? They just
Yeah, he
beat the
did
Giants.
it.
After everybody was so hype about Jackson Dart in the first week, and I was on this podcast saying, hey, he got to show me a little more. And then boom, only 14 points in a loss against
the
New
Saints are
Orleans.
the Saints, the Giants are the Giants. So if you want me to retract my statement, two teams, two franchises in such disarray. I'll give the Giants a nod that at least they have some upside, some upstock, some potential there with Jackson Dart. I think they're, looking towards a future promising quarterback. The Saints, they're just a mess. But no, but I mean, it's just exciting, the opportunity to go into week to week and really not know what to expect. You know, the parity is bringing the league so close together. There are some teams that are still head and shoulders better than others, but generally speaking, save 3 or 4 teams when you're pretty confident based on the matchups. Um, you know, week to week, it's just fun to watch.
I think for me, it's just overcome by joy, because y'all know I think the Eagles just that fan base deserves nothing positive in life, in terms of football. That fan base deserves to suffer. The problem with Eagles fans is they're just Cowboys fans dressed in green, and they can't see it, and they just can't admit it. And their team's more successful than the Cowboys right now. So when I see them lose, and I get to text all my friends back in Philly, it does something for me. It really does. And the thing's about to tumble and crumble real soon. AJ Brown's going to want to get out of there. Word on the street is Devontae Smith ain't the happiest guy these days either. Jalen Hurts is going to get exposed. And it's going to warm my heart so much. Dude can't see. He can't see. And everybody wants to just love him so much because he listens to the Frankie Beverly and Anita Baker. Guess what? Everyone knows those songs. He ain't special for it. Y'all should see my playlist. He's playing. He ain't playing the deep cuts. He's playing the songs you hear at every cookout, and y'all celebrate before. And that dumbass daggone Wesley Snipes Kango hat that he wears. Come on, man. Like let's just calm down on all the hype around the Eagles. And thank you, Denver. Sean Payton's going to get them back on track. What I think about that whole division, we'll get into on the next segment. And then the Bills, another team, phony, fraudulent, play no one on schedule this year. Drake made it not look good to me Sunday night and still made just enough plays to win that game in Buffalo. What might have been the final Sunday night game at Ralph Wilson Stadium. Oh, I got off my flight just in time to see that fourth quarter. Oh my goodness. The football gods were great to me this weekend. They really were. It was just beautiful to see. And I mean, if the Bills lose to the Falcons on Monday night, Tuesday's going to be exciting. I'm going to go on a rant that's unheard of about that team. Do not lose to the Falcons. That's all I'm going to say.
For me, the Bills, not to cut you off, the Bills are one of those teams that can't get out their own way because they just don't get enough. They're strong every year. Josh Allen's been there. They're a strong team, but they never get momentum. They never get the kind of momentum that a perennial Super Bowl contender gets. You watch teams that are Super Bowl bound and ultimately get to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs get momentum. At some point, they lock in, they reel off 3 or 4 or 5 games in a row that look very good, and we go, uh-oh, here go the Chiefs. The Eagles, same way. They get to a point, a groove at certain point in the year, and it's like, uh-oh, here they go. Even teams that are, kind of
the Ravens
slow
get that
starting,
every
and then
year, and they just slow down in the playoffs. The Ravens, they get
you
it
said the
every
Bills
year.
do get that?
No, I
The
said the
Ravens
Ravens
get
get
it
that
every
every
year. They
year.
just absolutely, and then they hit the roadblock, which is the Chiefs. But the Bills never do that. For me, the Bills they may groove early on in the year, then they hit this little flat line, and then they try and resalvage it. But for me, they never have momentum. Even when Burrow is hot, when he's healthy, the Bengals have it, but I just never see it with the Bills. And that's really been their story since, you know, post Jim Kelly, really, right? I haven't seen the Bills lock in that way, in quite a while. So I'm never sold on them. So the point I'm making is I'm never sold on them. They're always a perennial Super Bowl caliber team, but I don't believe until I see it.
I would say this. I do think it was a good loss for Buffalo on Sunday night. Excuse me. First of all, that division has been horrible for the last few years. So they've had 6 games that are basically like a cakewalk. And New England's gonna be much better with Rabel. We just know that better. And I think Drake May is. I'm surprised you said he didn't show you anything on Monday. I thought he in the fourth quarter, second half, he was really good. On Sunday. Why I keep saying Monday? Sunday night.
I said he made enough plays. He just didn't impress. And the ball security in that game by both teams, god awful. I hope they all had 110s and had to roll their butts off in practice sometime this week. But ain't no discipline in pro sports anymore. So I'm like, my hopes up.
Stephon Diggs was special. He was special on Sunday night. Shout out to Buffalo, Atlanta. I'm actually going to that game on Monday, so I'm going to see Josh Allen in person. I'm excited to see that. But I do think that it's a good loss because I think it shows that, hey, maybe we can actually – the division has – not everybody's going to be New England Patriots for those first 20 years of the 2000s, right? When the division was crappy and they would always get the second round bye, blah, blah, blah. They also had the greatest quarterback of all time. Josh Allen's not the greatest quarterback of all time, despite what Tony Romo says. But you think Tony Romo, you hear Josh Allen's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So anyways, I do think that if it could, they have another game against the Patriots, and I have to look at their schedule, but they just need a little bit more, I think, tougher road to get to the postseason. So I don't think it's a bad loss. Shout out to the Patriots. I think the Patriots will make the playoffs as like a wild card team, 9, 8, 10 win season. And then for the Eagles, at some point, you can't keep playing this type of style of football and think you're going to win. Like that, Jalen Hurts has, it seems like, remember the year they went to the Super Bowl and then they switched the offensive coordinator? I forgot the guy's name. I think it was Johnson or something like that. And then they go and get Kellen Moore, and now they have another offensive coordinator. It seems like a regression to that season.
So they had Steichen when they lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. He left. They had Brian Johnson.
Yes.
And that was the year Tampa just embarrassed them in the wild card. They fired him, went and got Kellen Moore, won the Super Bowl last year. And now they're with this Joe Patullo guy who they hate.
Exactly. But remember, they started that year when they lost to Tampa Bay 10-1. And Hurts was in the MVP conversation and also sorts of stuff.
That's right.
This team,
Jalen Hurts should never be in MVP conversation.
But he was that year.
He's got the best roster in football and has had the best roster in football since that first Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs. You cannot be in MVP conversation when your roster literally has 0 deficiencies except maybe one outside corner, and that's it.
Yeah, that roster is crazy. But my thing is, he's so inconsistent at some point, and that's my point. The thing with Jalen Hurts. Yes, I agree with all the things you said about the hat, the earring, the music. It's like he's like Black America's new like it guy. Like it's just like
Black folks make me sick with who we choose sometimes.
But it's true, especially with women. I do think with him though, it's about production for us. In production, I don't see it. Like I see an average quarterback. I don't see a top 10 quarterback. Remember when Cam said this summer yo, he's this and that. And everybody was like, yo, but he's a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah,
Yo,
corny Gilly the kid. Yeah,
yeah, you could be a Super Bowl champion, but a Super Bowl champion is 1 out of 52. Look at Robert Horry has more championships than Kobe. Like, doesn't mean, and I'm no disrespect to Robert Horry, he was a great clog to those
great role
championships.
player.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you the guy. You not the we don't look at Jalen Hurts and be like, he's the reason
it's simple as this. We watch Inside the NBA. It's our favorite show on TV.
Absolutely.
Go to the great Sir Charles. I care about bus drivers, not
Yes.
bus riders. And
Exactly.
Jalen Hurts is right in the middle of the bus with his headphones in, enjoying the ride with no worries. He's got no bumps in his seat, nothing.
Yes. And my thing is, more I see them play, I don't see a Super Bowl repeat. I don't see that team. I don't see
it's going to be either Tampa or the Rams that catch them in the playoffs for a second time and gets them out of there. And hold on, Sean. You know who they hate playing when they've got a healthy quarterback?
Who?
The 49ers. You know they hate playing San Fran. And San Fran, this is their least talented team since they've started being on this run.
Yep.
And somehow they look great. I mean, Robert Saleh really means that much to that defense. They're doing this without Nick Bosa. Like, they had no business competing with the Rams last week on a short week. Not only did they compete, they won. Now, granted, Blake Corum and Kyron Williams had butter on the football, but still, they won. Like, and Brock Purdy said, I mean, the 49ers, remember, they spent that whole year telling the Eagles, the year the 49ers went back to the Super Bowl, they told them, say, hey, y'all hype Brock hurt his elbow in the NFC Championship game. Y'all know what was going to happen to y'all if he stayed healthy. And they came back that next year and stood on business. So I'm going to say it for the 49ers this year. Philly, y'all better hope Brock Purdy ain't healthy. Y'all better hope y'all don't see the Rams the second time. And you better hope you don't see the Bucs the second time. Because all three of them teams got something for you this January. You can write it down.
And all the quarterbacks are better than Hurts.
Ooh, I love it.
Simple as that. I do have to say this in that game with the 49ers Rams last Thursday. Sean McVay, that was a horrible call at the end of the game. Horrible call.
Yeah, I like going for it. And I love the trust in Kyron Williams. I do. But you could have had a little more pre-snap motion and a little bit more lead blocking for Williams, at least. I didn't like it. Or just something quick in the short game.
Matthew Stafford was having a really good game. You don't take the ball out of the best player's hands to give it
for
to
a struggling running back. Yeah.
It didn't add up. And I like that Sean McVay took responsibility. But yeah, that's my things. And I agree. We'll talk about the Broncos next, but I have something to say about Sean Payton and those guys.
Get it off your chest. Let's go.
All right. So I love with Sean Payton. First of all, I thought when Sean Payton was at Fox, I was like, man, we just knew the writing was on the wall with Staley and the Chargers. I would have loved to see him go to LA, but he went to Denver, and I was like, but then, and he got rid of Russell Wilson. He was like, I need this type of quarterback. I need this type of team. He's built a really tough team. Like, I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying they're going to go. I'm not saying that, but I do think over the next couple of years, he's built a really talented, really tough team in his image. And I love that team. I really do. I really like watching them play because it reminds me of an old school football team. Like, again, is Bo Nix the most talented quarterback? I didn't even like Bo Nix coming out of Oregon. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, me and Jerron was both not, but he's done really, really well. He's a serviceable quarterback, more than serviceable. I don't want to disrespect him. He has the ability to make plays. But I just like how tough they are. I think, honestly, I love the Chargers. But the last 2 weeks have shown me a lot about the Chargers that I could say firmly. I still think the Chiefs are going to win that division. But I think the Broncos are the second best team in that division because I think mentally who they are as an organization. And I'm surprised what's happened in the Chargers. No toughness the last couple of weeks. Like, you can't lose those 2 games. You started 3-0. You should at least be 4-1, 5-0. It just didn't make sense to me. How you lose to the Giants, how you lose to the Commanders like that at home.
So
Broncos are the second best team.
I think the Chargers thing is they believe they just didn't have enough pass rush in these last 2 games, which led to them to go get Odafe Owe. I got news for you. It ain't going to help. If it does, that's just going to let you know really how bad Zach Orr stinks. But at Sean, you said a few weeks ago, when we gonna start questioning? Who was it? Kyler Murray. The way I question Trevor Lawrence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
I've been talking about you for years now, man.
Same.
And now you're starting to look like that guy that me and Sean had no faith in coming out of Oregon. You're about to enter them conversations because it's always, he's got all the talent and if this and if that. At some point, I need ifs to turn into wins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not showing up right now. I need you to be the super talented quarterback you are and just go lead your team to win. What you doing scoring 10 points on Washington's defense?
No excuses. No excuses, Javon, because at the end of the day, the first 3 weeks, I had him in the MVP conversation. I'm like, yo, this guy looks like I already like, and this is my bad. Every year I list the top 4. We all know the top 4, and I automatically put Justin 5. But now I have to look back at that list and be like, what has Justin done better than Baker Mayfield over the last couple of years? You know what I'm saying? Like,
now you want to, Baker and Matt Stafford.
Matt Stafford,
give these brothers the love they deserve, man.
Like, I agree with you. Justin's on that list for me now because too much talent. They're not the talented team like 2-3 years ago. But if you're that quarterback, you have a serviceable offense, a serviceable defense. You got to win these games, man.
Now they are banged up.
No,
at the tackle position right now.
I know
they're
Joe
banged up at the tackle position. They remember Slater's done for the year, and they without Joe. So they got some stuff going on. I will say that. But at some point, you got 2 route running savants, and Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen, and a good running back committee. Like I need you to turn it into something.
Yeah, you got to do something, man. And I love the coach.
So for me, Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence were kind of, neck and neck. And I was giving the edge to Herbert, thinking that Lawrence was just, never going to shine the way, he was projected to. But I think that's reversed now. I think Trevor Lawrence has taken that step forward, finally getting consistency. He's got a bevy of talent around him, and he's delivering. I mean, they're 4-1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, it's clear that, Herbert is there's a wake up call that's needed, because he's not guaranteed to be the starter, in my opinion, and that's a bold statement. But there could be he could be seeing some competition soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and get another quarterback.
Who, Herbert?
Woo! Woo!
They gave him 250 M's.
Yeah, I don't think it's off the Herbert ship yet. I hear you. I'm not ready to go that far yet. Yeah. Check in with me in about a season or 2. I ain't ready to go that far yet. I need at some point for hype to turn into substance, right? That's it. And Eagles fans hate Herbert because they get sick of the world saying Herbert's better than Hurts without the accomplishments and boom, boom, boom. He is better than Hurts. But at some point, I need him to be able to do
I'll give him that.
I need him to be able to do the simple things sometimes that Hurts does to win his team's games, right? Like, I don't know, man. It seems like something always goes wrong for the Chargers. Like, everything's right. He is great. It's when things go wrong, he doesn't do what's needed to elevate his team. Mm-hmm. Like, we saw Lamar Jackson for years, void of an offensive line, void of dynamic wide receivers. And he matched Baltimore's issues perfectly. And now that he's not there, you see what's going on. The year that they lost to the Bengals in the wild card on the Snoop Huntley dive at the goal line. They lost a lot of games without Lamar Jackson that year. Like, Lamar Jackson shows you how bad the Ravens are without him. At some point, I need Justin Herbert.
He's MVP candidate. That's every the year. Reason. That's exactly the reason.
And now I need Herbert to show everyone why the Chargers are better with him. I need Herbert to start doing the same things.
Yeah. One last thing about the AFC West.
Agreed.
Oh my gosh, Geno Smith should not be a starting quarterback.
9 picks already.
If I'm Tom Brady, I'm looking at that's my quarterback.
You passed on drafting Shedeur Sanders. You snaked Shedeur Sanders for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Dame Lillard tweet. He was like, "Yo, we should just go trade for Shador." Like,
Yeah.
at that point, I don't understand. And especially Brady had a relationship with him. There's no reason he shouldn't have at least been a second, third, fourth round pick at that point, and you would at least see if he could have played quarterback for your team. That team is bad. That team is bad.
Not only is that the perfect backup for
Raiders.
Geno, not only is he the perfect backup for Geno and an upgrade over him. Yo, Vegas has cats to pass the ball to.
Mhm.
You got two tight ends when they get healthy, and Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. Jacoby Myers, great route runner. And I don't know about y'all. I love Dante Thornton Jr. 6'5" with like 4.2, 4.3 speed out of Tennessee. That is a team that if it has a quarterback can make life real difficult on some defenses who just are not expecting it.
Yeah,
And you blew it.
Yeah. Bad team. That team will be picking in the top 5 this year. They got to find their quarterback over the next couple of years.
Should have been Shador, man. And oh man, no, we talking about bringing prime time to Vegas. Oh, that'd have been. Yeah, Tom, you messed up here, Tom. I gotta say, Tom, don't be Jordan. Don't be the greatest player, and then the worst. You know what I'm saying?
GM.
The worst executive. Don't do that, please, Tom. Don't do it.
Oh, you were saying but bringing Coach Prime to Vegas?
No, I'm saying just you bringing the Sanders family to Vegas. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to say, I think my guy Prime needs to just retire a little bit. Too many health concerns.
Yeah. And Caden Salter ain't worth that stress. I'm gonna be honest.
Nah.
That dude stinks. Oh Lord. Oh, I was never been so wrong on a quarterback in the transfer portal. And this is why coaches always say buyers beware when it comes to the portal. Everyone is an uncertainty. All right, each year it just becomes more and more true. That is, hey, college coaches, build your culture with the high school kids in your area. Use the portal to fill in the gaps. Do not build your teams on the portal, man. Don't do it.
Great.
All right. Sean, we got a mutiny in the WNBA. Napheesa Collier went scorched earth on Cathy Engelbert, who none of us on this podcast have been a fan of as commissioner of the W. Caitlin Clark should be thankful for the platform the W provides. Y'all know I'm not the biggest Caitlin Clark fan, and even I can say that's total BS. And there were just so many things that Collier exposed. And then Engelbert gets up there with some woe is me, and I have a family emotions too crap. Got to get out of there. I can't put any other way than that. Has to go. The WNBA will not grow properly with her there. And we know Sean's big sticking point, and I'm with him. You're choosing to keep a team in Connecticut over Boston. There's just so much that's wrong with her as the leader of the W.
And then she says, you guys should be thankful for the TV rights deal what TV rights deal you got? Wasn't that the deal that the NBA negotiated, and then you guys got like a windfall out of it?
Yeah, like you got the USA Network.
Yeah,
Monday Night Raw on the USA Network anymore. What are we talking
exactly about? Netflix got it. So I just don't. When the players don't like the commission this much, I don't know if we've seen this in a long time. Maybe early Roger Goodell days, but it's kind of smoothed over since then. But I haven't seen this in a long time. I have not seen and the way she came out and did that press conference. I haven't heard she got did she get fined or anything yet? I haven't
heard that. That'd be bad PR. I think the league office knows not to fine Napheesa for that.
Okay. Because I was like, you can't fine her for this, right? First of all, the officiating was the officiating, and it's been horrible. All the players saying it's been I'm for physical basketball. Like I miss that in the NBA. I like that in the WNBA. But if they're saying,
I don't want butchering.
Yeah, then you got to listen to your players. Hey, we want a team in Boston. Listen to the fans. If you want, listen to the guy. Like I think she thinks she's bigger than the brand. Caitlin Clark would have made. She could have been unrivaled, making $16 million a year and grow that brand. What are you talking
let's not
about?
forget how much money Ice Cube and the Big Three offered her.
Exactly, $5 million a year. So, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's when you think you're too big. Like, you think you are the WNBA. It's like, no, you just have she has to be very grateful that Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark came at the same time. And you have people like Juju Watkins coming in, and then what's the white girl from Dallas?
Paige Beckers.
Paige Beckers coming in. You're getting recognition from the college game, and these guys turn from social media as well, and they turn into stars for your league. It's not all you.
Yeah,
and I think
that's the WNBA ain't the one marketing these players are marketing themselves. Kelsey Plum markets herself.
Yes.
Asia Wilson markets herself. Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins. They market themselves. You know, like Aaliyah Boston marketed herself through what she did in college. Angel Reese is the LeBron James of the W when it comes to building a brand for yourself outside of basketball. So what are we talking about here?
And what's the goal? Like, this is the thing. I think Adam Silver has done a horrible job with the NBA, right?
Oh, terrible.
But he's too player friendly. This lady seems like she's too, hey, this is the authority. You have to meet people in the middle, because I don't think it could be far ranging left or right. We need a middle for this, especially for WNBA. This is a crucial time for the WNBA. They're growing. I watched games 3 last night. Like, it's a fun time. It needs to be handled properly for it to succeed for the next 50, 75 years, whatever the case may be. And I just don't think a commission like that, when the players hate you that much, you guys are so far divided. We haven't seen this again since early Roger Goodell's, and that was the NFL. The NFL could sustain. The WNBA can't sustain a business model like
Still
this.
had a lockout in the NFL under Goodell.
Exactly. I forgot that. They did have a lockout in that. So I just don't, I'm not a big fan of her.
And we may be headed to one here with the WNBA. Their CBA is up, I forget what, end of the month?
Yeah, October something. The 31st, I think. But yeah, it's a tough time for the WNBA and the players. But I think the news, it's bad when your commission is the news of your.
I'll tell you this. If given everything we said about how it's really the WNBA profiting off the brands of the players and not vice versa, and the money that Unrivaled's making, because all these players are still going to be in Unrivaled in this winter, and it's going to get views. They're going to make their cheese. Turner Sports are going to benefit greatly off of it. There's no incentive for them to play next year. You think TNT wouldn't pick up a spring ball version and a summer ball for Unrivaled and pay them whatever they want to get paid? Like, the W can't afford a lockout. Give them women that 50-50 split they deserve and meet in the middle on everything else. Simple and plain. Oh, God, you were going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no. You were fine. Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, like you said, you know, this is the most talent heavy time in the WNBA that I've seen since its early inception, in terms of just, you know, the star power. And they are not maximizing that because they are, you know, at a war, you know, marketing's better, right? But like you said, the players are marketing themselves. They're in our lexicon because of their performances. A lot of them from the college ranks coming over. So Caitlin Clark has carried basketball just simply from a marketing and brand exposure standpoint. And, you know, to suggest that it's the other way around is preposterous, right? Yes, Cathy Engelbert comes from Deloitte, so she's a corporate person. But does she have the heart for basketball? I wonder, and it's becoming apparent that she does not.
And that's what what's short of you on Indiana? Sophie Cunningham was saying, like, hey, she might be a business person, but
yeah,
the league office just doesn't have any basketball people in it, and that's an issue. And you know, it seems like throughout all the sports that's an issue. We just keep wanting to get away from the sport, even in reporting. I mean, my editor tells me try not to talk too much football in the stories and just tell a story. At some point, we got to worry about the game. At some point, it has to be the game. And I don't want to hear anything about Deloitte because they're running the NIL clearinghouse right now. And they ain't even doing a good job of that. So, like, Deloitte's really been a useless company. So, yeah, man, I'm just not a.
What's maybe I'm ignorant. What's Deloitte? I never heard of it.
That's some firm.
It's an IT company.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're an IT company.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I just think she's not running it right, and I don't know who would be the ideal candidate to replace her, but
Go send Mark Tatum over there. I don't know what he does as the deputy commissioner of the NBA anyway. Go send Mark Tatum
Second
over
round
there.
of the draft. That's about
But
it.
listen, if I'm
Right.
Adam Silver, I have to intervene because at the end of the day, the
Yeah.
the NBA owns the most interest in the WNBA
Yeah.
still. So I'd be like, yo, look, this ain't working. We have to move on from you. We have to find someone, maybe even someone who's more player friendly. And I don't like what Adam Silver's done it, but at least the numbers have grown. And that's, I have to give the NBA credit. The social media is popping. NBA is more a social media brand to me than the game we care about anymore. And the narrative.
And it's because of Silver talking about you can just watch the highlights. You know what, Sean? I got to just swap. Give me Cathy with the NBA and give me Silver with the W.
Exactly.
I think both leagues could use that swap right now.
I agree. The league would need that swap. But if I was Silver, I would have to be like, hey, let me work with you to get this back on track a little bit because he's too player friendly, but that's maybe what the W needs right now.
Nah, people walk all over Adam Silver. If I had to like give my kids a life lesson, if I had a son and say, hey, I got to teach you something about manhood and how not to get walked over, and I just had to show him who not to be, I just give him a picture of Adam Silver. You know what I'm saying? This is who you are. You don't grow up to be this. That's just me.
It's crazy when Gary Bettman has done a better job of growing, in my view, as a commissioner over the last 10 years than Adam Silver.
Wow. Yeah.
Anybody else excited about the NHL being back in the Olympics? Oh man, I
awesome.
can't wait. I can't wait I cannot wait. When is it? January, February, when our Olympics start?
February. It's just the passion they play. That's how it should be. Like they play passionate and they know
because that Four Nations Cup was fire.
That was one of the best ideas I've seen in sports in the last 10, 15 years. Like besides baseball baseball changed the way it was in that Four Nations, the two best things that's happened in sports in last 10, 15 years, easily to me.
Easy. Oh, yeah, we get Olympic hockey and the World Baseball Classic in 2026. Woo! Yep. Yes, international play. And the World Cup's in 26.
Yep, in Atlanta, LA, all over the place.
Oh, yeah. We've got a great international slate in 26. I'm happy. All right. You love the big fellas. Giannis is considering a move out of Milwaukee if they just can't show him he's a champion. They're a championship contender. You want him to stick it out, or you giving him the freedom to spread his wings?
So I appreciate Giannis's loyalty thus far. I don't think it's ill-mannered that he suggests, hey, if you guys aren't serious about winning, then I have to consider what's in my best interest. I don't think there's a problem with it. I mean, we're in the day and age where those thoughts used to be true, but you didn't know about it until late in the game, and here we are, not even into this. I mean, we're hardly into the preseason, and he's making this known. Which the question now becomes, how does that play out for a team? Are they gonna give their best effort, or are they just kind of riding and waiting for him to make his exit? I think Milwaukee's still a tough team. They're a tough out just because of Giannis and the caliber of play he brings. I think Miles Turner can help. I don't know if he's that missing ingredient to get them back where they need to be. Reality is this, they were a point guard away at one point, and they got that point guard in Drew Holiday, and they won the championship. And then they thought they were replacing Drew with Damian Lillard. Injuries got the best of them. And so I don't know. I don't know where they stand now. I don't know that they are top three anymore. At one point, I would say they were top three in the East. I don't believe that's the case now, but I think they're sneaky good.
I got one retort to that. I ain't giving Dame an injury cop out. I said I told Sean as soon as that deal happened, it was going to be bad for Milwaukee, and it turned out to be even worse. I don't know why people think Dame's a better winning basketball player than Drew Holiday. Like we didn't watch in 2021 in Japan. Drew Holiday took his minutes on that Olympic team, and that's the only reason they were able to win gold. But whatever. We want superstardom over good basketball, and that's an issue. Sean, I think we can just agree Milwaukee's been playing with Giannis's career for the last 2-3 seasons. Get out of there.
Hey, no. Giannis has been playing with his career the last. Let's call spade a spade. No, let's call spade a spade. Giannis had the opportunity to leave this summer. Listen, I'm a very big realist person in certain aspects, right? I understand we don't own sports teams, but I understand if I own the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm gonna look at my team, right? So you tell me Miles Turner is gonna replace Dame and we're gonna be a NBA championship team? No, I'm gonna be like, hey, let's move on from Giannis as well. Let's mutually move on. Let's start rebuilding. I'm not gonna pay $22 million in dead money over the next 5 years on a false hope. Giannis is gonna wake up sometime this offseason or next offseason or the trade deadline and move me. Why didn't you just do that this summer? It's like a relationship. I know when a relationship's over with a girl.
Oh man, you ain't.
I know it. I'm so well aware. I'm like, oh, it's done. She's checked out. I'm checked out, right? So what is the point of this relationship? Giannis holds all the cards because next summer he could be a free agent, so he could dictate where he wants to go. So New York, LA, one of those markets he's probably going to go. Why not just do it now? Absolutely. And we can start rebuilding. We have $22 million of dead money for the next 5 years and lose all these assets. It doesn't make sense what's going on. So Giannis is playing with his career, and the owners, the Haslams, who's done a horrible job running sports organizations, are playing with their organization. It's time to move on. You'll just prolong it. Do we all believe that Giannis is going to finish his career in Milwaukee? No. Then move on now.
Just move on. Get on. Yeah, you know it's headed nowhere. Oh, Sean, yeah, you hit that on the head. You just know you ain't happy. You ain't happy with Shorty no more. It's getting stale. Hey, you know what? Let's just go ahead and call this a day before we wind up resenting each other. You got to. Oh man, pass it up. Take of the day right there. Take of the day. I mean, because it's just like with Giannis in Milwaukee. First of all, why am I paying Giannis, Bobby Portis, and Miles Turner? Right, like that's the first thing. And then who's my point guard? Who's my point guard in Milwaukee right now? And you have nothing. You got your ring in small market Milwaukee. Granted, you were the beneficiary of every other contender that year being injured, except the Suns, which is why the Suns made it to the finals that year. But like, you got to know when the run's over, man. And just go on. You know, it's nothing I hate more than when you see one of those like classic music groups just holding on for too long. Like, go ahead and retire, man. Y'all messing up y'all reputations. You used to be precision and everything on the stage, and now you just, you know what I'm saying? Like Smokey Robinson, go home. Stop touring. You too stiff to be up there trying to gyrate your hips, man. You know, the Temptations. Tyson can't sing a falsetto anymore. Otis Williams is overweight. Just go home. Go home. My girl been around for 60 years. We don't need any more new songs. Y'all had hits in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Y'all can go home. I promise you. Milwaukee. Give it up. Just give it up. Just work. And the thing with Milwaukee is, and Sean, you know, I normally don't advocate for this, but I like you said, I'm a realist. In today's NBA, you are a small market. I think you have to operate like this.
Yes.
And Giannis is the best player in your franchise's history. Like, he surpassed Kareem and Oscar for being a buck, that is. You have to work with Giannis of where you want to go, man. We'll send you where you want to go. Make sure you go out the right way. And then we'll handle everything on our end from there. We'll just play off that. But, it shouldn't even be up to Giannis. It should be like Greg Popovich used to do this with his role players. Hey, man, you're too good to keep coming off the bench over here and being underpaid. Boban, go get your money.
Exactly.
You know, DeJounte Murray, go ahead. We about to rebuild. You don't got to be around for this. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the Marlins were one. Yeah, I think the Florida Marlins are a good example of how you do it. You win a championship and then you rebuild, because the reality is you're going to outprice yourself being a small market team and not being able to compete with the Yankees of the world. So the same holds true for Milwaukee. They're never going to compete with the LAs and the New Yorks of the world, even some of the other smaller market teams. You know, so the reality is, ride the wave. They won the championship. It was a peculiar year in terms of how the league played out. Take advantage of Giannis still in his prime and get capital like
Yeah.
Oklahoma City has done and build a team for a perennial long run. But this superstardom that you're riding with Giannis, you're not going to be able to catch up and put the pieces around him to make them, a real contender anymore. I just don't see it happening.
Because at this point, it tells me you're just looking for ticket sales and merch sales and not winning. You know what I mean? Somebody in Milwaukee by now should have gone to Giannis and said, "Hey, we just ain't.
Yeah,
We
it's just
ain't it right
over.
now. So
It's over.
let us know where you want to go, man. It's going to be best for your career. You want to go to New York? You want to go to LA? You want to go to Miami? Which one will get you there?"
At the end of the day, this whole the East is wide open thing with Indiana out, Boston, who knows, Tatum comes out. Everybody's like, oh, we have a chance to see it. No. No, not everybody has a chance in the East. There's probably 2 or 3 teams that really legitimately, have a chance.
Should be Cleveland and the Knicks this year.
Yes,
the problem is with those 2 teams, we know somebody's going to mess it up. And I will say, the Hawks would be a sneaky contender to be one of those teams that messed it up this year. It's all up to Trae Young and if he wants to play some basketball.
The Hawks could be really good or really bad. I agree with that. But I like KP in a contract year. It seems like he always plays big in a contract year because he wants to get his money. So, and I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad. It's just history has shown he's always played amazingly in contract years. The only thing I would say is this: is you could be a contender in the East. At the end of the day, this is about winning championships, right? No team in the East. I don't think any team in the East is beating any of the top 4 teams in the West. I'm just being real. So why not? Milwaukee's going to fool themselves. They fooled themselves like, hey, Miles Turner 1 year. You're not beating OKC in a 7-game season. You're not beating Houston. You're not beating Denver. You're not beating the Lakers.
I think that's why we give Masai Ujiri as much credit as we do, because he realized what I've been seeing for years. Oh, did I ever have this conversation with you back in high school when I used to talk about Eastern Conference All-Stars compared to actual All-Stars?
No.
Okay. So I have this thing, especially in that era of the East, where not all All-Stars were built the same. Tony Parker, Chris Paul, those are All-Stars. John Wall, Kyrie Irving, those are All-Stars. Kyle Lowry, Paul Millsap, Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver. Who else I'm missing, Sean? Those are Eastern Conference All-Stars. Al Horford.
DeMar DeRozan?
I'll give DeRozan All-Star.
He wouldn't make it in the West.
Yeah, legitimate.
He wouldn't make it as much in the West. So yeah. So that's my thing, right? And Ujiri pretty much realized that with Toronto, especially when LeBron left, like, you know what? We keep getting to the East Conference Finals, but we still ain't a contender. We're just a good Eastern Conference team. And he went ahead and sacrificed DeRozan to get Kawhi. And then got Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka and, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet. Just assembled a great team that had Kawhi stayed, probably could have went on a run of its own. And built an actual team. That's the Bucks got to understand that you had enough to compete somewhat in the East. You don't even have that anymore. Just go on. And I want the Cavs to understand that with Darius Garland right now. They
are a star away.
Yeah, he's good in the East. But if you want to be a contender, you got to move Garland around to make your team an actual contender and not an East contender. The Knicks, the same thing. Your team can do something in the East. But until you move on from Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges for one more guy on that perimeter that can really do some damage, you're just an East contender. I'm sick of that being the story of the East. Why is it every year I can think of 3 teams that, that's just closer to the bottom of the West? Then I'm like, man, you put them in the Eastern Conference schedule, they'd probably be a 4 seed. You know what I'm saying? You put the Grizzlies in the East, having fun. You put the Spurs in the East, having fun. It just gets old.
So
and boring,
since you mentioned Memphis, Yeah, since you mentioned Memphis, like that would be the kind of splash. Ja Morant joining Giannis in Milwaukee, then I say, maybe they're legitimate.
Right.
But they have no assets. They've given rid of all their assets. They can't move anything. They're the team. If they traded Giannis, they have to get Karl Anthony Towns back or Mikal Bridges to stay competitive because they have no draft picks. So there's no incentive to lose. So you have to still win unless you go all in and some team gives you all their draft. But even with Giannis, that team's going to be good. So like they're stuck in a no man's way. The way they've gone all in on Giannis, I think Giannis is special, but not that special.
You can't go all in like that, but do it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't believe in that. Remember what Cleveland did with LeBron all those years when he came back the second time or the first time before he left? I don't believe you build championship teams like that. Be like, yo, I'm not going to go lose all my future assets to go in for 1 year. It doesn't make sense.
Especially for a guy who doesn't deliver.
It don't make sense. If Michael Jordan, absolutely. Kobe, I would have done it. But you can't do it for every star player because look at the situation Milwaukee's in. They're in a tough. Milwaukee needs to do what Houston did with James Harden when they moved on from James Harden. Houston's done an amazing job in a short amount of time rebuilding that organization. Yes. Milwaukee needs to reset like that. Like removing Giannis out of piece, get as much assets in like a 5-6 team trade, get some good players to play now, and rebuild it that way. That's what Milwaukee needs to do.
Simple and plain. All right, so Sean, I was reading something this weekend, and caught my eye. So I'm on the plane to Atlanta to get to Dallas, and no, I'm waiting for the plane. Excuse me. And
I had you in a layover.
Yeah, it wasn't a.
Right.
We're cheap. Just know that we're cheap. So I'll travel planes. Yeah, don't get me started. Yeah, so it's Bruce Feldman, and I'm gonna keep y'all both on the screen for this. He did his little like weekly roundup or whatever on Friday. And he said he had spoke to an anonymous group of 5 coach. I'm gonna assume it was a coach in the American Athletic Conference. That's the only way this makes sense. Especially from the quotes he gave. It was like, the transfer portal came around in the winter. And we kept losing guys to North Carolina. And I kept asking myself, why are we competing with North Carolina for these kids? This makes no sense. So I'm reading, I'm like, where is he going with this? And he's like, normally, when we keep competing with the same school for kids, with a power, he said, when we keep competing with a power conference school for kids, I know they're going to stink. He said, in all of my years of coaching, I haven't been wrong about that yet. I knew Carolina was going to stink when we kept losing kids to them. So we have now learned Bill Belichick, Mike Lombardi. Well, we already knew Lombardi wasn't good at this. And we knew Belichick was falling off, but now it's done. They cannot evaluate talent. It's over. And now their alternative is next year, Lombardi wants to bring in 40 freshmen. He thinks that's the change. It ain't quantity. It's quality. Fellas, UNC football is in a crisis.
Yeah, they are. And they need to get out of it. And the way you get out of it is you let Belichick out of his deal. Listen, Belichick took this job because of control, and he wasn't going to get another NFL job this cycle, just what it is. But if you think about it, if you read between the lines between Brady and Belichick and the Raiders, and this is what I'm saying, they picked Pete Carroll, but I think a week or two prior, Belichick took the UNC job. There's no way in my mind that there's something in the back of my mind that tells me that if Belichick was still available, that was the only job he would have got because his right-hand man, the greatest quarterback of all time, they won all those titles, was there in Vegas. I still think if I'm Belichick or I'm Brady, if I'm Brady, I fly to UNC in a secret meeting and I tell him, hey, I'll fire Pete and you could be the head coach of the Raiders. Because I think Belichick's style in college, again, it's only 1 year, it's only a few games, but he does look overwhelmed, overmatched. I just don't think
the coaching doesn't look bad. It's the talent that looks bad.
The talent's horrible. But what I said about Belichick is I don't want him picking my talent. The last 5 years in New England, he didn't do a great job at all. So if Belichick, I would bring him to the Raiders if I was Brady, but he cannot have no say. He can have a say, but he's not the final decision maker in talent. And I think that's my twisty conspiracy thing. I think Belichick's going to be a Raider coach by the end of the year. I think it's not going to work out in UNC. I think this is a job to transition his son to be his successor if it worked out. So if he stays, maybe Steve Belichick will be the head coach eventually, but I don't see it.
And what is Steve Belichick shown to be a head coach?
What has Stephen Pearl's Bruce Pearl's son shown to be the head coach at Auburn? It's all nepotism. So I can see that
at its highest.
Yeah, I can see it working.
UNC where Lombardi and Belichick's sons are on the coaching staff. So that was a power play. UNC, you say football crisis. Well, let's put this in perspective. They weren't world beaters under Mac Brown. I mean, they were sustainable. They were legitimate, right? But I mean, you could say there was some talent coming out of UNC, and now they're void of talent, and it shows. And at the same time, they're void of talent. You bring in Belichick to kind of stop the bleeding, if you will, I guess, from a long-term coach. But he didn't have the full gamut of time to recruit. And he's not a great recruiter. I don't think he will be in the college ranks. And his ego is going to be in the way, for him doing it next offseason. So crisis might be a bigger word than necessary. I think they're in trouble, and I think they're just going to have to take their lumps until they figure out what the next move is.
Reason I say they're in crisis, they're in the ACC, and they've got an Old Dominion roster. You know what I mean? Like, that is hard to overcome and dig yourself out of. And that's just a hard place to recruit from the standpoint of competition. Think about it. If you're in North Carolina, you're competing with Tennessee, you're competing with Memphis, you're competing with South Carolina, you're competing with Clemson, and you still have your other three schools in the surrounding area of Duke, Wake Forest, and NC State. So a lot of competition. And Virginia Tech's coming down there every now and then. Maryland's coming down there every now and then. Georgia's coming up there every now and then. Like, you've got some recruiting competition. So you cannot fall this deep in the hole in roster construction when you're Carolina. That's why I say crisis. It is hard to dig yourself out of the hole that Belichick and Lombardi are digging. Like, stop worrying about the numbers. You brought in 70 new players last year. You want to bring in 40 freshmen this winter. Stop worrying about the quantity. Focus on the quality. It's a Carolina team that was just producing Josh Downs and Tez Walker and Drake May and Mitch Trubisky. Carolina was producing guys.
Talent there.
You know what I'm saying? You cannot go this far down. And I just think of one player in Carolina right now, Andrew Simpson. You got deceived by what Belichick was selling you. Best linebacker in the portal. And you're just rotting away there. And if you are the best linebacker in the portal and you are coming from Boise State, I just know somebody out west gave you a call. Dan Lanning had to give you a call, right? Lincoln Riley had to give you a call, right? And you're sinking in Carolina. Who feel bad for that kid. Yeah. All right. Where are we moving to? The Jaguars, 4-1 with a win over the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Sean, you said it. You love what Liam Cohen's doing for this team. I like that Travis Hunter finally got involved. The Jags might be on their way to a winning formula.
I think that what I like about Liam Cohen, even though he was bouncing from job to job, is the swag and the toughness and intensity he brought to that team. and that team should be 5-0. They should have beaten the Bengals. That game that Burrow got hurt in, I think, week 2 or 3, whatever that was. I really like what they're building in Jacksonville. Again, has Lawrence been up and down this year? Yeah, yes, but he's shown in big spots he's made plays. And again, I think Lawrence, what's this, his 3rd or 4th offensive coordinator, coach, or whatever. It's just a big a revolving door of decision makers around him since he's gotten to Jacksonville. I think Cohen will be there for a while. I do think for that team, I don't like Travis Hunter playing both sides of the football. I got to be honest. I think he could be a Hall of Fame cornerback. I don't think he could be a Hall of Fame receiver. So that's where I would put him at cornerback. Focus on that. Maybe later in your career, after you're established, you could go play both sides of the football. I just don't like that part. I think he should stay on one side. But again, some impressive wins Jacksonville has done. Them and the Colts seem like they're definitely the class of that division. We'll see if the Texans come back or what. I don't know what's going on in Houston. I don't know what to believe in that team. But I did say at the beginning of the year, hey, look out for Jacksonville because I really like Cohen because I loved what he did with Baker and those guys last year because it was running the football. And in Jacksonville, they're like top 10 of running now with ETN and those guys. So I like that mindset. And he's a quarterback guru. It's going to work out in Jacksonville. They have their coach for a long time.
Yeah. I've always liked that Jacksonville organization. I mean, always sneaky good. They gave the Ravens fits in the early, in the late 90s under with Mark Brunell under center. We could score 50 points and they'd score 50, 56 and win the game. And their defense has always been kind of a benchmark for that team. So no different now. One of those teams that I'm talking about that, again, either quiet is kept early on. They're kind of like, you're making a note, right? But then they get momentum. Well, we'll see where they go. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win a first round playoff game. And who knows, break here or there, and they could be in the AFC Championship. So, I am I'm used to this. I've seen this movie play out before. But they are a team to be note, and they are for real. This isn't fool's gold.
I think it can sustain itself in Jacksonville if they continue to just get the ball to the playmakers. Let Brian Thomas make plays. Let Hunter make plays. Let ETN and Tootin and Allen get their carries. And the defense just continue to be consistent. I think the plan for Travis Hunter should be full-time corner, 3rd down and red zone on offense. Mm-hmm. Right? I think he's so good at corner. You give him one-on-one indie work in practice with the receivers. Actually, no, I'll take it back. Indie work at corner, team period with the receivers, right? It's a tricky way to balance it because I'm watching Syracuse do it with Demetri Samuel right now. But 3rd down and red zone on offense, full-time corner, and just go from there because he's got the talent for it. And he showed he's a playmaker. I mean, he had the contested catch over 2 people on Monday night that just showed you, oh, man, I feel like I'm watching that team in Boulder all over again, right? Yeah, I don't see why they can't win the South. Who do I trust to continue their play for 17 games? Trevor Lawrence or Daniel Jones?
Yeah, Trevor.
You know what I mean? So they can easily end up as a division champion in the South. Do you fear the Texans if you're the Jags? No, they actually have had the Texans number, and the Titans stink. Yeah, you can at least split with the Colts. So you can get 5 wins out of your division alone.
Yeah, that team should be a playoff team this year. I would be surprised if Jacksonville doesn't be a playoff team.
They could be a number 2 seed.
That would tell you
they could just off of 5. You getting 5 wins from your division, and they're playing what, a 2nd or 3rd place schedule this year?
Yeah, 3rd place. Well, they have a second pick in the draft. They traded up.
So the only issue is playing the AFC West, but you already beat the Chiefs. Why can't you beat the Broncos? Why can't you beat the Chargers? You know you're gonna beat the Raiders. You know what I mean? It's not a hard schedule.
I think that defense has definitely impressed me. And again, I think they are just I don't like their cornerbacks, so I don't understand why Hunter's not playing full-time corner.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make sense, that whole split. And you gotta be like, yo, kid, we know what's best for you right now. Like, do this first. Be a master of one, and then you can't be a jack of all trades in the NFL right now.
A master of none. Yeah.
Yeah. Be the dominant corner that we all seen in college. I think he would have been a top 5 pick as a cornerback. I don't know if he would have been a top 5 pick as a receiver. That's me personally. I think he's a good receiver, but I don't see Jeremiah Williams in him. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's a really good receiver. I just think he could be a dominant cornerback.
Gotcha. All right. So had some shakeup in the NFL. We got some new quarterbacks in Ohio. Looks like Joe Flacco versus Jake Browning in Cincinnati, and Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. Are we intrigued by this?
Go back.
Yeah, I am. My video seems frozen on my end, but nonetheless, yeah, I am. I'm excited for Cleveland to say, hey, we're going to give our young guys a chance, let them explore the opportunity to shine and develop into NFL quarterbacks. Flacco gets a chance to continue his career. Cincinnati, so this was just a business decision. Clearly, Cincinnati is not going anywhere this year, but you know what? He's serviceable. He's an upgrade from Browning. He fills the need until Burrow comes back. So it's a win-win, my opinion.
And we know he's not afraid to throw the jump ball to Higgins and Chase and just let them go make plays, right? I mean, that he's got 2 Anquan Boldens in Cincinnati now. He'll be happy. And I think that's what the Bengals need this season, just something to keep those 2 guys happy. And it's just ironic he ends up in Cincy, because that is the team that gave Joe the more fits than any team in his career with Baltimore. I mean, the Ravens just found ways to lose to the Bengals. So that's ironic. I'm not going to like seeing that on Thanksgiving night, to be honest with you. But then in Cleveland, now we getting down to what we all wanted out of this Brown season, right? Gabriel versus Sanders. Let's see how it plays out. I think Dylan Gabriel had a good start to that game against Minnesota, and then got a little too conservative at the end.
That was coaching.
But they look better with them from the standpoint of, at least for my fantasy team, David Njoku finally got the ball this year, and Harold Fanning got the ball. So he used both tight ends. When's Jerry Jeudy going to get going? When's he going to get utilized?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he just not that guy, like Steve Smith Sr. said?
Just a jag. What do you call him?
A jag, just another guy. You know what I mean? Jerry Jeudy, when are you going to step up to show who you are? That's my challenge to him. Because Quinshon Judkins turned out to be a great pick for them at running back. Like, Cleveland really is a quarterback and a receiver away.
Yeah, and that's why I text you guys. I'm happy what they're doing in Cleveland. You have to find your quarterback over the next 2-3 years. Like, Watson's supposed to be coming back, so if you want to give him another chance, I don't care. But you got to find your quarterback. I just don't believe in that. Just playing Joe Flacco just to play. I love that move for Cincinnati, even though I would have gone after Russell Wilson. They need to be able to stay afloat in Cincinnati till Burrow comes back. And Brown was not going to keep them afloat. If you're within 500, within a couple games, I will let Burrow come back at the end of the year. But the way Browning was playing, he was playing worse than Geno Smith. And Geno Smith's played horrible football this year. Then you had no chance. You're going to lose all your games. So I like the move. Flacco with talent around him. We've seen what he did a couple years ago. Not saying he's going to do that, but it's worth a try in Cincinnati, even though I would have gone after Wilson or Jameis Winston. But whatever. But in Cleveland, I like the situation. Gabriel, I thought, yes, second half was definitely conservative, but I thought there was more play calling. He shows he has some talent, But at some point, Shedeur has to play, even because you're going to be a top 5, top 10 pick team in this draft. You have to see what Shedeur has. Let those both play. I will alternate. I'm just so crazy about quarterbacks that I will alternate. I'll be like, all right, one week this week, or you start for this set of games, then Shedeur. I would do that because you have to figure out if that quarterback is in that building. If not, you have to go get the quarterback, because if you don't have a quarterback, you are not winning the National Football League.
I've got
Well said.
I've got one thing to add to this. This Shedeur Sanders thing. Well, no, two. Number one, backups in today's NFL stink. Period. There are some bad backups. I remember when a starting quarterback got injured, it wasn't the end of the year for teams automatically. I think of the Steelers with Byron Leftwich and Charlie Batch for all those years, because the Steelers would always play Baltimore, and either Haloti Ngata or Terrell Suggs would hurt Big Ben, and then the next time we saw them, we were seeing Leftwich or Batch, and they could still put up a fight, right?
Right.
And that was just all around the league. I don't see many good backups in the NFL anymore.
It's bad.
And I think that started when we started glorifying Chase Daniel as the best backup, and the dude stunk. But I guess he's just a nice guy or something. Who knows? I don't know. But
there's no development of quarterbacks. There's no development of quarterbacks anyway. So how come the back?
At any level of football.
Yeah. So.
At any level of football. So it's just bad. So that's number one. Number two, for everybody, oh man, look at Shedeur. Should have just let the Ravens draft him. What happened in Baltimore is exactly what he didn't want to happen. Can you not comprehend English? He said, I'm not going to Baltimore, Philly, because I'm not going to sit around wishing for injuries on those two guys that I had the utmost respect for. He did not want to get his chance by Lamar Jackson blowing his hamstring. He wanted to get his chance by being the best guy for the job. I can't get mad at that. I just can't, because Lamar Jackson's not injured for the rest of his career. He's just out for until the bye week. That's it. He went right back to eating the pine. And what are we saying? What? Oh, he would have had a chance to showcase something. Not behind that offensive. Well, maybe. Who knows? Because he didn't have the best O-line in Colorado. But he did not want his job that way. Philly, Jalen Hurts is never going to get hurt. And they're never going to yank him. So just relax. He's where he wanted to be. And guess what? Quarterback 2 on the depth chart. Just like that. Leave him alone.
There's a chance. He before the end of the year, Cleveland has to see what Shedeur has. Unless Gabriel comes out and is a world beater and they're like, hey, this is our guy, then I respect that. But at some point, I think you have to see what Shedeur has.
Yeah. All right. Some quick ones here. We got some shakeups in some major league clubhouses. Brian Snitker out in Atlanta. Albert Pujols may be going back to Anaheim. And then, so this is funny. Friday was eventful. I'll take funny back. So I'm on the plane and we get the news that Arthur Jones had passed away. I'm sure you remember him from the Super Bowl team, had the sack on Kaepernick in the Super Bowl. So, just making some phone calls, trying to eulogize him a bit. But, before I had plans Friday for, as soon as I got to Dallas, one of my good friends from Temple, who works in PR for the Rangers, we're going to go grab some barbecue and catch up. So I'm taking phone calls from the car or whatever. But before I even get on the phone, we're just talking and catching up and talking shop. And I look at him, I'm like, all right, now talk to me. Y'all aren't looking out. Y'all aren't looking anywhere besides Skip Shoemaker, right? He's like, that's literally why we hired him. I'm like, and there's no hiring, like there's no rule or anything where you have to conduct an outside search in baseball. He's like, Skip's going to be announced next week. 2 hours later, Shoemaker gets announced as the manager of the Rangers. So that was just a fun Friday for me. But Sean, I think he's good for Texas. I think Pujols will be good for Anaheim. I guess Ron. I hope that wasn't just a firing of Ron Washington. I hope Ross just didn't want to be a manager anymore, like just wanted to go home or something like that. And then the Braves, their season was just bad.
It was really bad, but that's the best. I
Disappointing.
would love that unless the Yankees job comes available.
That's the best available job.
That's the best available job. Like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that team could compete next season. They were hurt a lot, but just very disappointing season across the board for a lot of those players. But I love Shoemaker as it's just Schumacher, whatever his name is, in Texas. If I was Atlanta, I would have gone after. He would have been a top candidate anywhere. So Texas was smart to let Bochy, hey, go away. And I kept him here because he was already a advisor for the team or something like that.
Yeah, no, they hired him as like a succession plan to Bochy, is what I was told.
Oh, okay. It made sense because he has what he did in Miami a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And he was let down by that.
Yeah, Sandy Alcantara just went crazy. Yeah.
Went crazy. Yeah. I like that as a pickup. So, but the Braves job should definitely be covered. Definitely be covered.
I think that's number one and Baltimore's number two.
Baltimore fired the coach, manager?
Yeah, Hyde's been gone.
Oh, yeah.
Mansolino's not guaranteed to come back. Yeah, like they're conducting a full search.
Yeah. My bad. Yeah, Atlanta's number one. And then over Baltimore. Because you guys got rid of the Angelos, and you bring Rubenstein in, and he seems like he's cheap as hell too. And so I was trying to find a way. We need a salary cap. I saw him put out the other day or a couple weeks ago. I'm like, yo, this guy's an idiot. But whatever. Good luck to you guys.
And he sips Michael Elias's Kool-Aid too. Go ahead.
He has a great podcast, by the way, though.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't have much intake on this. You guys are locked in a little deeper on the managerial front. I agree. Atlanta is a good job. So any candidate, would do well to consider that, because really they're one or two players away from getting back to where they were and being, a perennial World Series contender. Still got Acuna Jr. there, locked in. If he can get back to his optimal self, they've still got some big bats over there, and they've got a great farm system in Atlanta. They've had it for years. So
yeah, they got a great front office. That job is actually, now I think about it more, that's a job I would be like seeking if I was a manager.
Lining up. I think the Orioles are going to get the sloppy seconds of the Braves coaching search.
Yeah, because I think Ross, first of all, whoever the Toronto Blue Jays hitting coach is, that will be the top guy on my list for Baltimore. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yes.
I'm not, all jokes aside, the way he has those guys hitting in Toronto, and it's not like these guys are just all talented guys. The approach is something I marvel at. I was like, wow, this is a great approach. He should be at the top of the list. Top of the Baltimore Orioles list, by the way.
Absolutely right. Let me get their hitting coach, or let me get Mark. That's who I want in Atlanta. Mark DeRosa. D-Rose loves the game. He's a Georgia boy. Played for the Braves. He was there during the Chipper Jones era. I mean, you're not going to find much higher baseball IQ than him. I mean, MLB Central has been my favorite morning show on television for about 3-4 years now, and it's in large part because of D-Rose. He does a great job with Team USA for the World Baseball Classic. Get him back home. Let him be the skipper for the Braves.
I would not be mad at that.
Sounds like a good decision. Yeah,
great choice.
All right. Last one. So the injury bug has affected Baltimore and San Francisco. We see one team handling it perfectly, one team not so much. Sean, are you ready to come aboard the Fire Hardball train? You ready to listen to us on this one now?
I'm finally on board because it's not how you lose. I understand the industry.
It's not that you lose. It's how you lose.
It's how you're losing. It's not competitive. They're not showing up. It seems like the message is stale. And people are like, oh, they're still the favorites to win the AFC North. I don't see championship habits. I'm a big championship habit person. Yeah. I'm a big person. I said that. You have to build championship habits over the time that you just don't wake up and become a champion. And I don't see that being built in Baltimore. Nope. And when he gave the vote of confidence, I was off. I was like, yeah, I'm jumping on the train. I can't co-sign him anymore being the man in Baltimore. And what has he done since 2012? Has he won championship?
Now you want to come around on that point that I've been trying to preach on you.
I have to.
Get him out of here, man.
It's time for him to go. Great job. That would be the best job in football.
Best job. Who's your dream coaching staff for next year?
What was that question?
I said, who's your dream coaching staff for next year?
In Baltimore?
Yeah.
Now here's the shakeup. I still think we go get Mike Tomlin. I think
Oh
Tomlin.
Lord.
In,
Oh.
no, hear me out. I think Tomlin in Baltimore, because he knows that rivalry, he understands the conference, the division, and I think he would bring in the dogs we're missing. Harbaugh was very distinct. It was evident after Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, he brought in players that were going to cater
Be
and bow
soft.
to him. Yeah, because he had to be the alpha male. But I think Tomlin, although he's an alpha male, I think he'd bring in guys that could shine. And I think the front office, DaCosta, hearing a different voice that way, someone that would give him a little pushback, I think that'd be the kind of shakeup we need outside of Tomlin, and that's just because he's established. I think
And
if you
Tomlin's
go
been the guy the
to
last 3 years who every time it's Ravens Steelers week, he points out what's wrong with the Ravens. Like I don't know if you watched Hard Knocks in season last year, but he was the one saying, like, he knows the Ravens down to it. He knows how soft they are. He knows what all their problems are. Like Tomlin knows literally everything wrong with the Ravens from a football and a mental aspect. I'll give you that. I don't think he's going to be gone because I think the Steelers are probably going to wind up winning that division this year. But I think they're still those are two guys in need of new locker rooms, period.
Yeah, but they, if you want to swap them, I don't care, right? Because I'm not high on Harbaugh anyway. I wasn't even at the selection. Personally, from Billick to Harbaugh, I mean, it just so happened that they still had the talent to win a Super Bowl, but I wasn't super excited about John Harbaugh at any point. I respect him as a football coach. In the sense that, I think he does some things well, but from a time management standpoint, God, he's awful.
He is still the
my
only special teams.
5-year-old.
I think Javon froze.
Offense or defense?
What was that? You froze.
Oh, I'm saying he's still the only special teams coordinator running a franchise right now. Everyone else comes from offensive or defensive coordinating. He is still the only special teams coordinator, and DaCosta just doesn't see that being an issue, which makes no sense to me.
Which is funny because, with that said, our special teams, outside of having an all-world kicker for years, wasn't that great.
After Jacoby Jones, special teams wasn't some calling card for the Ravens anymore.
Not at all.
I think you guys have the head coach. I think Todd Monken would be my head coach if I was the Ravens.
I'm not mad at that.
I think he's done an amazing job with the offense. Like the AFC Championship game was horrible against Kansas City a couple years. We talked about that before. But other than that, I don't see any flaw. And I love Lamar in that system. I love what Lamar has grown into and all sorts of stuff. I think he would be one of my top candidates for the job. He definitely get an interview.
I think what the Ravens needed to do was give Harbaugh a kind of forced retirement after losing that championship game and promote Mike Macdonald, the head coach, and let him figure out who on his defensive staff was going to take over for him. And they would have been fine. That was how it was supposed to go. Everybody in Baltimore said it, and they just didn't listen. And now you got this and fans booing and not showing up to the game. So now you got to go Monken, see if Chuck Pagano wants his old job back as DC, and go from there. I don't know. I think it's over for the Ravens. I really do. Everybody's talking about maybe Brian Flores as head coach. I wouldn't be mad at that. And
I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Mike McDaniel as
Steve
offensive coordinator. No, Steve Wilkes, he blew it in San Fran. Hell no.
Hell no.
Yeah. Actually, give me Flores. He is exactly the kick in the ass the Ravens need. Give me Flores as head coach. Mike McDaniel can have fun with Baltimore. The problem is I don't need that soft stuff. And why would Flores want him working for him? Ravens fans don't really use their brains too much sometimes. I'll be honest with you. So give me Flores. Offensively, just pluck somebody from the Shanahan, O'Connell, McVay, LaFleur, tree. If Markin doesn't want to stay. And then defensively, Flores can handle it with his guys. But I want Brian Flores as next head coach of the Ravens.
He would be a great head coach of the Ravens. I think thinking defense, someone out the box, maybe someone in the college ranks. Who I'm trying to think of, maybe Freeman or something, and keep Monk. I like Monken a lot. I don't let him go. I don't let him leave the building. So I would give him the head coaching job. But that's just.
All right, fellas. I hope y'all listened to me last week because I'd have made y'all some cheese. My dumb ass didn't put my bets in before I went to Texas, so I had to watch my parlay hit without it even being into my FanDuel. Pain. I went 5-0 on college last week and 4-1 on the NFL because the Eagles wanted to lose to the Broncos. I think I'm warming up, Sean. October's normally been my month in football too. So I think we might be on a run here. So I got Sean. What you got?
You're not the Bills.
No. So what you got for me for the NFL?
You got momentum.
I got some momentum.
I got the Cowboys again -3 against the Panthers. Dak is playing really good. That offense is really good. I don't care what anyone says on this pod. Dak's a top 3 MVP candidate at this current moment. He's playing really good football, especially if they get to the playoffs with that defense. He definitely 100% will be my candidate. And I like the Patriots getting 3.5 points in New Orleans. Is it New Orleans? Yeah, in New Orleans this Sunday. Yeah, in New Orleans this Sunday. I like that Patriots team. It reminds me of a tough old Patriots team. They're not a Super Bowl contender, but they're building the pieces. And let's start having a real conversation. Gonzalez, Surtain's the best cornerback. Gonzalez is not too far off. They don't even throw him at him.
No, the top three are Surtain, Stingley, and Gonzalez. That Sauce Gardner stuff is dead.
Sauce is trash. Sauce got all that money for nothing, but keep going.
No, those are the three: Surtain, Stingley, and Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez had the best college tape I've ever seen of a corner. I mean, from Colorado to Oregon, it was teach tape. If you want to teach a corner technique, you show him Christian Gonzalez tape. It was enough to make you cry.
Impressive.
So I got the Rams 7.5 in Baltimore. I think tonight in East Rutherford, the Eagles get right game. I'll take their 7.5. They can't afford to look bad in this game. And then listen, the Chiefs haven't passed the test yet this year. So give me Detroit plus 2.5 in Kansas City. College. I got y'all this week. So look, Tulane 6.5 against East Carolina. It might just be the touchdown, but give me Tulane spread. Fresno State's only getting a touchdown against Colorado State. The Rams stink. I mean, I don't know. What's the head coach's name over there? Jay Norvell, right?
Jay Norvell.
That brother has done nothing besides capitalize off of Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter hype for 2 rivalry games and wound up getting busted up in the second one. Fresno, the Bulldogs are going to whoop on Colorado State. Shout out my boy EJ Warner. Temple Tough over here. I think Alabama goes into Missouri and wins. That's a good money line number right now. I think. No. I don't know why I put that one on. We'll take that out. Wake Forest at Oregon State. I think that's a win. And then Georgia is going to go into Auburn and get themselves a win. I think Georgia's coming off a bye week also. That's kind of, bad news. Okay, yeah, I wasn't tripping. And then Iowa State goes to Colorado. They're going to have fun with the Buffs, especially after last week's game against Cincinnati. Cyclones are going to have themselves a good get-back game. So the money lines are Alabama at Missouri, Iowa State at Colorado, Wake Forest at Oregon State, and Georgia at Auburn. And the spreads, both Tulane and Fresno State at 6.5 against East Carolina and Colorado State, respectively. Let's make some money this week. I'm feeling good.
How much money would you have won last week?
$10 turned into $1.34. So yeah, $100 is you're walking away with $1,300. Oh, man.
Man, that's a tough L.
Oh, that was a heartbreaker, Sean. You don't understand.
Yeah. I would have been pissed when I got on that. I landed in Dallas and saw that. can't even enjoy my time in Dallas.
All right, fellas. We got anything else this week?
I think we good.
Kyron Lacey. Rest easy. That brother was innocent.
I saw that.
And took his life just to wind up being proven innocent. I got a thing when Terrence Shannon was going through his stuff in Illinois. And now I got a thing, man. I just cannot believe white women when they accuse black men of crimes. I just can't. It has never in my life proven
historically that
the white woman has told the truth. Ever. Thurgood Marshall's first big case for the NAACP. Was Emmett like it's bad, man. It is truly ridiculous. My man Terrence Shannon should have been the #1 pick in the draft that year and wound up falling to like 20-something, having to go to the G League and then eat the Wolves bench. It is ridiculous. So rest up to Kyron Lacey, because that is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that's a sad story. And I don't really rock with Ryan Clark on a lot of things, but I liked his speech after Scott Van Pelt after the game about that. And it just brings back to me, like, because I work in mental health. Mental health is real, especially when people go through stuff like that. That's where you got to wrap your arms around people and just ask people how they're doing and stuff like that. Especially in our community, it's a really big thing, mental health.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we got for this week. We'll be back hopefully Tuesday. Hopefully we aren't faked out by a fake LeBron James announcement this time.
Oh, that's what I want to say. Let me say that. I got to say, that's what I want to say. Stephen A., stop hating. That was great promotion. It duped everybody. It did what's his purpose, but Stephen A. was hating. And don't say that. He don't like LeBron. He was straight hating.
He was. I watched. I said, "Oh yeah, he on the hate train."
Yeah. Come on. Let's
talk about some as soon as he played bad. I'm gonna think about the Hennessy ad.
Yeah. Now you just hate at that point.
Meanwhile, Stephen A. is going on a tour with Bill O'Reilly and Chris Cuomo.
Yes, exactly.
But he doesn't have political aspirations.
He does.
He definitely does. 100%.
Speaking of Stephen A., that's the other thing I wanted to bring up. Shout out to brother Allen Iverson. Bubba Chuck he's sober for 6 months. If y'all have been around Allen in the last 4 years like I have, it was needed. I'm so happy for him. Wow. Allen would show up every year late, and you could just see it in his eyes that he was lit. I had been saying for about 2 years, love him, but he had to put the bottle down and came out. He's on his book tour, promoting his memoir, told Stephen A. he's 6 months clean. I'm so happy for Allen.
That's awesome.
I
didn't know it was that bad. Well, I haven't seen Allen.
Yeah. It was bad. It was bad. So that is wonderful news.
I'd heard stories.
Shout out to Allen Iverson. Even got an Aaron McKee reference on that pod. I hope Aaron's out there doing good. Aaron was great to me for our 4 years at Temple. That's my guy. I'll forever have love for that dude. So hope he's doing all right. So shout out to shout out to Aaron, really the Philly hoops community, man. So that's all I got. We out. See y'all next week.
All right.
See you guys.